Hi team, how y'all doing? Oh shit, I forgot to plug in my bloody thing. Hang on, let me plug it in. Oh, I did plug it in. I just forgot to turn off the Wi-Fi. Hang on. Let me just do that. 1 second. I was really good. I plugged it all in and everything. I just forgot to turn it on. So just gonna go into the group, make sure we are live. Um, Let me see. There we are. Gonna pin me to the top. I have myself all set up today, which is, oh, unpinned from featured. It's already in featured. That's great. Let me go into features and pin it to the top just while I'm waiting on you all getting on. Thank you so much for bearing with me. I apologize for not being here with you on Monday. I am feeling a lot better. My throat is just not quite as sore, but I do have like a really kind of sore head and sinusy thing, which, I'm getting by with lots of ibuprofen. And like, what is with the fucking perimenopause wake ups? Like, let me get this light out of the way. It's very irritating. I tend to get up super early anyway. Like, I'll get up anywhere between 4 and 5 a.m. usually, and but for some reason at the minute, not every day, but quite often, I will wake up at like 3:30, which is really annoying because 3:30 is just a wee bit too early. Even like 3:45 seems like a little bit more acceptable because it's closer to 4 than it is to 3, but 3:30 is just shit. But I guess I just look on the plus side, isn't like I run a very busy company and I have a hell of a lot to do. So if I wake at 3:30, I just get up. Like I literally just get up. But on Monday I really was feeling awful. So between a lot of work going on and just not feeling well. And then last week I blew my calf muscle, so I was on crutches. Although I can walk on it again now, which is good, but I definitely still can't train legs. So yeah, just going through the wars at the minute. You know, you just get like a wee run of things, just feeling shitty. Yeah, it's kind of what's happening at the minute. So let me say a few hellos. We have Alexandra is here. Hello, my darling. We have Jessica and Tanya is here too. We have Tara and Rosalind and Dre is here. Good morning. We have Tammy Donald. We have Andrea Wolford is here. Good to see you guys. Nice to have you all here today. We have Diane is saying hello as well. Maiken is here. Maiken's always here. Good to see you. There's a few questions today on the graphic. Laura's working in the office beside me here, and I actually just shouted into her. I was like, Laura, all the questions today are about how to motivate themselves. You guys all seem to be suffering from a lack of motivation, and you want me to come in and give you like a big virtual shot of espresso or a big virtual kick up the ass, which I'm kind of more than happy to do if you want me to. So we'll dive into those questions today and see what I can do to help motivate you all. Who else is here before we get started? I've got the lovely Sinead. Hello, my darling. We have Kelly Hogan is here. Anne is here. Good to see you. Maya's here as well. She's in the other office beside here. We have Vero is here. Caroline Bradley is here. Cindy is here too. Nice to see you guys. Good to see everybody online. Good to see everybody on YouTube as well. Lynette and Jeanette and Ray is here too. So let's dive into some questions for today's Q&A. We have the lovely Laura White is asking the first question. She says, would love Kim's insights and guidance on how to deal with complete apathy for most aspects of your life in perimenopause and how to drag yourself out of it. Laura, I don't know what to tell you. I think that at the minute I'm definitely not suffering from apathy, but I am suffering a bit from a serious amount of work. Like with the launch of the app, it really has just been like launching an entirely new company. I said this to my husband the other night. It was like I couldn't have foreseen how much it really genuinely is just like launching a new company. It's not just like launching a new product. It really is like launching a new company with the bugs and the glitches and the setup, and then trying to get it so that the challenge, the Buns and Guns challenge that we're starting in a couple of weeks, works on the app. It's an entirely new process for the whole team. And then we've had a complete restructure of the team as well inside the company. People left, people joining, people moving on. It's just been crazy. So Laura, I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you what I do, right? One of the things that I learned years ago was really genuinely just to accept the present moment and just to go with it. I think I learned, I'll tell you where I first learned this. So I read a book, I actually listened to the audiobook years ago, like one of the greatest spiritual leaders of our time, Eckhart Tolle. And Eckhart, his book, The Power of, as we in Northern Ireland, we say the power of now. That's how we say it in Northern Ireland, the power of now. But in America, or to other normal people, you would say the power of now. So the power of now, as we call it in Northern Ireland, is it really is a masterpiece on how to stay present and how to stay grounded. And I really, really enjoyed listening to that book. And I would highly recommend it on an audiobook for any of you who haven't listened to it. It teaches you how to stay in the present moment. And one of the biggest learnings that I took away from that book was nothing exists outside of the present moment. Any problem that we create or any problem that we perceive we have either exists in the past or in the future, and neither the past nor the future exists. So it's the past or the future in our head that exists. And so one of the things I learned from that book was how to anchor myself into the present moment. So anytime I'm feeling anxious or anytime I'm feeling apathetic or anytime I'm worried about anything, I have a very strong practice of simply pulling myself back to the present moment. And what I do is I bring myself into the present moment and I start to feel my body. I start to feel my breath. I try and focus and listen on the silence, listen for the silence. This is one of the things he teaches you in the book, how to listen for the silence, even if you're in a very busy city, or if you are in a really noisy place. They were using an angle grinder just outside the window here. They've been doing building work downstairs, and there's been saws and angle grinders and everything going all day. And even amidst the noise, I was able to stay calm, because what I do is I listen for the calm under the noise, or listen for the silence under the noise. And so the book was transformational for me in that way, in teaching me to stay anchored in the present moment. And so whenever I find myself going into my head, whenever I find myself in a suffer, whenever I find myself worried, what I do is I bring my awareness back to my body and I bring my awareness back to my breath. And when I do that, it anchors me in the present moment. And you kind of then tend to open your eyes and look around and you realize there actually is no problem. And it's funny because excuse me, I came home. We're going through a really, really busy time in the company at the minute. It's probably the last month, I would say, is one of the most stressful times I've ever had in my entire life. And I've probably had, which is probably why I'm sick, I've had a lot of stressful times in my life, but this actually this is just the icing on the cake. And a lot going on. A lot of it I can't share, but it's been a lot. But a funny thing happened. I came home from work last night, and I got home quite early, about 7, which is early for me. And I usually go into the kitchen, eat my dinner, and check in with my husband, eat my dinner, and then I, try and have a bath or spend some time with Ryan or try and see the kids. And my kids are teenagers, so they spend most of their time in their bedrooms. But I went up, and if I ever can catch my daughter alone for a moment, I do. It's lovely. And I went into her room, and quite often she's doing her makeup and stuff. She's 15, so she practices all these. She's really artistic, does all these gorgeous faces of makeup, and then goes and washes it all off. But last night she was lying on her bed, and I like to, if I can, make a point of going in and lying with her, because she used to come in and get into my bed every night. If I was sitting working on the computer on bed, she would come in and get into bed with me, and she would kind of snuggle into me. But then whenever she hit kind of age 14, she just stopped doing it. And so I realized that if I want to have that connection with her, I have to go to her. And so I came in last night, and I went upstairs, and I went into her bedroom. She was lying in her bed, and I went, hey, how are you? And she was like, oh, I'm good. And I said, how was your day? She was like, yeah, it was good. And I said, I saw the videos of the horses jumping. You look great. She was jumping yesterday morning with the horses. And so I said to her, I lay down on the bed with her, and she was just lying, on her phone. And so I lay down on her bed, and I pulled in a pillow, and I got in behind her, and I spooned her. And we were lying there And then she said, oh, hang on, I'll turn around. And so then she turned around, and she's bigger than me now, right? She's taller than me, and I'm tall. But she came in, she turned around, and she snuggled into me like this. I put my arms around her, and one arm under her neck and the other one around her. And I just sat and I just stroked her hair. And we just lay there like that and just talked. And she was telling me about her day, and I was telling her about mine, and we were having a bit of a giggle. And I just had this real beautiful moment of calm. It's the only way I can describe it. Like, I actually makes me a wee bit emotional even thinking about it. But I just was, lying there with her, and I just stared over. It's so funny, Oh, I just stared over at her shelf where she had her crystals and her candles and all of her her room's beautifully decorated. And I was staring over at it, and I just had this real awareness of just being in the present moment and just smelling her hair and talking with her. And that feeling you get whenever you hug your kids. It was so lovely. And I was really for a moment anchored in the present moment. And I just realized that all the stuff that I worry about, and all the shit going on in work, and all the launch of the company and the app, and the worry about paying the bills, and all of that stuff, it kind of all just disappeared. It all just like melted away in that moment. And I just was just there with with my daughter, with my child, just being present with her. And all of the worry and all the stuff I was thinking about in my head just kind of disappeared. And it really was such a good reminder of really what's important, and all the shit that we worry about, and all the shit that we create in our lives, and all the worry that we have, like, none of it really, it's not real if you think about it. And I know you might be like, oh, well, Kim, it is real, because I worry about paying my bills, or I worry that my child's going to get hurt, or my son's at war. All of these things are a reality. But if you really just think about it, like right here in the present moment, wherever you are right now, wherever I am right now, like here on my chair in the office, just like this is all there is, this is all there is. So no matter what worries you have, no matter however you feel, no matter how, you worry about not going to the gym, or you worry about losing muscle, or you worry that you haven't eaten well enough, or you worry that, you're not going to be able to pay your bills, or whatever, it's all worry that exists in your head. None of it is actually real in the present moment, because if it ever came to it that you couldn't pay your bills, and let's say something really awful happened and you lost your house, well, you would deal with it at the time. You can cope with whatever in front of you, but you can't cope with whatever catastrophe you're making up in your head, because the brain can deal with whatever's happening right now in the present moment. That's all your brain can deal with. Your brain can't deal with the problems that you create in your head, because they're not real. And so your brain creates a hypothetical problem in your head, or your brain catastrophizes a problem in your head, and then you start to panic over it as if it were real. And then you start to imagine how you would react, or how you will react, or how you could have reacted in the past, or how you might react in the future. And oh my God, and this is what I would do, this is how I would. So you go, oh my God, that would be awful if this thing happened. Like, this is, what if this thing happens? It'll be terrible. And you feel some kind of fear as if it has happened, not realizing it hasn't happened. It's just in your head. You've just created a situation in your head. And no amount of you thinking over a situation in your head and how you might deal with it will ever replace how you would deal with it actually in the present moment. And so one of the practices that I learned years ago from Eckhart Tolle that I've gotten to put into practice now in my life is the practice of staying in the present moment, the practice of being right in the present moment. And to go back to your question, Laura, which was, you would love my insights on how to deal with complete apathy for most aspects of your life in perimenopause and how to drag yourself out of it. My question to you then becomes, well, why do you want to drag yourself out of it? Maybe apathy is what you want to feel right now. Maybe apathy is where you're at. Maybe this is serving you in your life right now. Because one thing I do know is that human beings always choose the easiest path. And if you are feeling apathetic, and because here's the thing, you can feel apathetic but still force yourself to get up and get going and go to the gym and do your cardio and all that kind of stuff, right? Or you can choose to feel apathetic and then suffer over it. So you can choose to stay in the present, to stay in the apathetic feeling and create a whole pile of suffering around it, right? Making up a whole story about how you're such a terrible person and you're, all this kind of stuff, which really isn't true. It's just that it's called an amplification loop. So you feel the bad feeling and then you go, oh my God, this is terrible. I feel the bad feeling. And so then you worry about feeling the bad feeling. And then the worry makes the bad feeling worse, which makes the worry worse, which makes the bad feeling worse, which makes the worry worse. And you go into what's called an amplification loop. Rather than going, oh, wow, I really feel kind of apathetic at the moment. And then you go, right, let's go. And you fucking make yourself get up and go, because what's the alternative? What's the alternative? You fucking stay on your couch or in your bed forever. You don't get up. You continue to feel depressed. I think that the problem as human beings is we're so driven by how we feel. And the question I would ask you, all of you, is, are you governing your body or is your body governing you? Because one of them is being at cause, i.e. you govern your body, and the other one is being at the cause of your body, like at the effect of your body. The problem with many women is that sorry, I just need to blow my nose. The problem with many women, not even just women, but human beings, is we feel a feeling and then we make that feeling the most important thing. We think that our feelings either motivate us or don't motivate us, rather than a feeling is just a feeling. And you are a human being who can override your body feeling. Like, how many times have you felt hungry but chosen not to eat? How many times have you been dying to pee, but you've been in the middle of something, so you've decided not to run to the toilet immediately. You've decided to wait and pee later, right? How many times have you felt like doing something or not felt like doing something but done it anyway? How many times have you woken up in the morning and not wanted to go to work, but you've gone anyway? How many times have you gotten into bed and not brushed your teeth and then realized, shit, I forgot to brush my teeth, but you get out of your warm bed and you go brush your teeth? Did you want to do any of those things? No. Why did you do them? Because the alternative was worse than doing them. So you have to recognize that apathetic feelings, negative feelings of not feeling motivated, feelings of that come with perimenopause, that I'm experiencing them in it as well, they're just a part of life. And you have two choices. You can either feel them and suffer over them and make them into a problem, or you can recognize they're just part of life, of where you are now. And this is the way life is in your 40s and 50s. And shit happens and you have to deal with it. So you can either accept it or not accept it. And so the other thing I learned from the book of Eckhart Tolle was that the problem in life, the problems that we experience come from not accepting situations. He said, go into every single situation in your life and react to it as if you had chosen it. Even negative ones, even ones where you are somewhere where you do not want to be. You're in a situation that you cannot stand. Act as if you chose it, because in a way you did. You chose. All of the choices that you made in your life brought you to this point. Even if it's a feeling of apathy, even if you're suffering from the effects of perimenopause, well, probably had you been a different person at a different time or had different opportunities, you may have researched perimenopause. You may have got on HRT early. You may have, set up your life completely differently so that maybe you weren't feeling this way. Who knows? You couldn't have chosen those things because you didn't. But what you chose still brought you to where you are now, right? So you did actually choose, not consciously, but unconsciously, every single thing in your life. So every single day you make choices. You can choose to allow the bad shit that happens to you to be the story of your life, or you can go, oh wow, things are really shit right now. But what choice do I have? I can smile. I can change my state. I can get up. I can go to the gym. Is it harder? Yeah. Like at the minute, I am exhausted. I'm not sleeping. I'm ill. I'm stressed. I am going through huge things in my life, both professionally and personally. But I still come here every week and I still smile and teach this masterclass, and everybody thinks that, I have this perfect life because I show up here every week, I'm smiling. Sometimes I've shown up here for these masterclasses, and before I hit go live, my life is falling apart. And I'm not even kidding. There are things so fucking horrendous have been going on in my life just before I hit go live, but I just have to hit go live and I'm like, hey, I'm here and hi. And you guys don't know that I'm going through the biggest pile of shit. Why not? Because I've learned that you just have to get up and get on with it. Because what's the alternative? You can bitch and whinge and have a suffer over it. And I certainly do. I bitch and whinge to all the girls in here. That makes me feel a wee bit better in the moment. But like, really? What's the difference? My mum popping in the middle of a masterclass online. Can I talk to you later? Yeah. Thanks. Bye. It's my mum just popping in. So like, you have this choice where you can like buy into it, or you can choose to change the story and change the narrative and recognize that it feels hard and it's painful and it's harder than it was in your 30s, and it's probably harder than it was in your early 40s, and it's gonna get harder, probably, but that's just life, If I wake up now in the morning and I've had a great night's sleep, I just wake up and I'm like, dear God, that was amazing. I slept all night, and I appreciate how wonderful it was to sleep the whole night. And I don't expect that it's going to happen again the next night, right? I'm totally open to the fact that if I get 2 full nights sleep in a row, and I mean full night from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., if I get a 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. sleep, God almighty, I think I'm just made, right? But I don't expect it to happen every night. So therefore, if it doesn't happen, I'm not disappointed, because I just expect that my life, from all of the choices that I've made, is going to be hard from here on in, because life is suffering contaminated by malevolence, as Jordan Peterson says, which is such an accurate description of life. I couldn't even tell you. Suffering contaminated by malevolence. And if you get, life is primarily suffering. And if you get little pockets of joy, little pockets of motivation, if you one morning out of 100 wake up and go, yeah, I can't wait to get on the treadmill, can't wait to get into the gym, well, you fucking sucker punch that shit and you get in there and you lift the heaviest weights you can, because that will happen one day out of 100. And there might be some of you watching this going, oh, but no, Kim, like I feel motivated like 5 days out of 7. Well, God almighty, you have won you've found the golden ticket, right? Because for most of us, life's hard. I know I make it look easy. Like I make it look easy on Instagram. I make it look easy in these lives. I make it like, you see all my videos and and you just think, oh my God, life must be so easy for Kim. I can tell you my life is harder than anyone else's life that I know. It really is. But I just make it look easy because I don't wallow in it. I just accept that it's hard. And your apathy in life, or your discomfort in life, or your not enjoying your life, or not feeling motivated, or all those things, they're just what you have to come to expect from life. But you have to learn to get past that. You have to learn to not feel motivated, do it anyway. Feel apathetic, do it anyway. You just have to learn different systems. Like one of my things that I do is whenever I go into the gym, I never feel like going to the gym. And I'm actually giving my body a complete break from the gym this week. I'm actually not doing any training and any cardio whatsoever, because I really just feel like my body needs a break. But when I go into the gym, and I never feel like going into the gym, but when I get in there, I put on some really banging tunes on my phone, like really banging tunes. And I plug it into this massive speaker we have in the gym, and I pump the tunes so loud that after, I would say, 5 minutes, I've had a complete state change. The music has brought about a state change. So now I've gone from being, tired and apathetic and not feeling like it, to like totally pumped. Like I'm jumping around the gym, I'm dancing in the mirror. I move my body to give myself a state change. And this is one of the most valuable lessons that I can teach you guys, is that you are in control of your state. If you're feeling depressed, get up and dance. If you're feeling sad, do something to shake yourself out of it. If you're feeling tired, go for a run. I'm telling you, you're feeling unmotivated, get up and get into the gym. You can change whatever state you're in, whatever feeling you have right now, whatever negative feeling you have right now, you can change it. If you decide, if you choose to. You may not know it because you haven't done it enough. Whereas the difference with me is I've put myself in enough hard positions in this life that I've realized those negative feelings, those apathetic feelings, those depressed feelings, those unmotivated feelings only last as long as you allow them to last. Because I've been doing these lives for years, since 2018. And I remember once, just before I was about to press go live on a Q&A call, my mum rang me to tell me that my grandmother had died. Literally just about before I went on the call. And I was like, fuck. And I was like, Mum, I'm sorry, I have to go. I have to be live in 2 minutes. And I literally clicked go live and I went on. Nobody knew. No, you wouldn't have known my grandmother had died. I remember another time I got a message to say my sister had been diagnosed with MS just before I went on live. What did I have to do? I just had to press go and be like, hey, how are you? And just like change my state. And I, during that live, just focused on the live, and I was able to access my presenting state. And I think because I've gone to the gym so many times when I haven't been motivated, I've not eaten when I'm starving, I've worked even though I'm exhausted. Like at the minute I'm working, I usually wake about 4 and I work till about 9 p.m. in the evening. So I'm probably putting in 15, 16, 17 hour days at the minute consistently. And I have been for months, and I'm exhausted, but I still have to work, So I think the difference is the secret to living a successful and fulfilled life is do more hard things. Set yourself a goal or put yourself in a position where you have to do the hard thing. Like you've no choice but to do the hard thing. That's why we always say have a goal, be working a program. Like set a goal to run a marathon, set a goal to stand on stage, create a photo shoot or something to keep you motivated in this program. Because if you're relying on motivation to keep you motivated, you're never going to succeed. Because the more you show up and do the hard thing, even when you don't feel like it, the more of a habit and a practice it becomes. And when it becomes a habit and a practice, then you just do it. You just end up doing it. You don't think about it. It just becomes second nature. You don't even question doing it. You just do it. So that's kind of my little mini masterclass for you today. Whenever I saw you guys questioning, whenever I saw you guys all the questions today are about how do I stay motivated? You don't. Motivation's not, you'll never be motivated. How do you stay disciplined? How do you make yourself do the hard thing? You just have to set yourself a goal, set yourself something worth achieving. And then go after it. It's like I'm the breadwinner in my family. I have a lot of people I employ. I have to show up to work every day. I have to make it work. I have to figure out a way to pay the bills. Because if I don't, there's, my life falls apart, my family's life falls apart, and the lives of the people I employ fall apart. I have to do hard things every day. So, as Jordan Peterson always says, I love Jordan Peterson, he always says, take on more responsibility. Put yourself in a position where you are responsible for something or someone. It's just like whenever you're a mother and you have kids, you do so many hard things when you're a mother, because the alternative is your child starves or your child doesn't get the love and care and attention that they need. So mothers put themselves, give up a lot of their comforts in order to take care of and prioritize their children. And that's the kind of thing you need to find outside of your kids. You need to find something that's big enough. You need to take on a responsibility so big that you can't not do it. And through that, you'll build character. And when you build character, you will build discipline. You'll never be motivated. Building character will keep you disciplined and moving forward in your life. But the only way to build character is to do hard things, take on more responsibility. And then it won't even be a question. You'll be like, God, my life is hard. Oh well, gotta keep going. Like you just accept that life is harder than it is nice. Life is catastrophe contaminated by malevolence. That's what I always say. Okay, more questions. Jessica, she says, since finishing the 4-week shred, I'm struggling to get back on track. She's giving a bit of context. I'm sticking at 600 calories a day, tracked on the app, the new Sculpted Menopause app. I'm going to the gym 4 to 5 times a week. I'm doing maybe 2 to 3 days cardio. Breakfast and lunch are under control. Calorie-wise, dinner is within the limits. I'm tired, she says. No, actually, I'm exhausted. I'm fighting to keep my kid out of the public education system here in France. She says that's only the tip of the iceberg. I'm taking magnesium, zinc, vitamin C. What would you suggest I try to get my mojo back? Jessica, sometimes the best thing you can do to get your mojo back is just take a rest. You can't hold all the balls in the air at the one time. And sometimes if I really have lost my mojo with training and eating and dieting, I just take a complete break. And usually a week or 2 weeks is really all you need. And any longer than that, and it becomes a habit. Like resting becomes a habit that's hard to break. So I would suggest for you just to rest, just take a couple of weeks off and give yourself a break. And if you're exhausted, you're not, a beaten you is not better than a non-beaten you. If you're exhausted, it sounds like you need to rest. If you can rest. Like I said, I'm not training or doing any cardio this week. I'll see how I feel next week. And if I still feel exhausted, like I feel at the minute, and not well, then I'll take next week off as well, because me being on top of my game and is more important to me than being completely exhausted. So that would be my advice to you, Jessica. Like, rest. I think that it's very underrated, rest sometimes. Tanya Rose, my question relates to the build phase. I'm eating at my TDEE, but it might be a little less given I'm lifting 5 days, and so not exactly low exercise. So let me just talk about that for a minute, Tanya. You're saying I'm eating at my TDEE. So your TDEE is your total daily energy expenditure, which should include how many days you're training at the gym. So whenever you work out what your TDEE is, you work out what your basal metabolic rate is, and then you add your activity factor on top of that. So your basal metabolic rate is the rate your body burns calories to keep you alive. And then on top of that, you add your activity, how many days you go to the gym, how many days you do cardio, how much movement you do in your job, that kind of stuff. So your TDEE takes all that into account. So whenever you say it might be a little less given I'm lifting 5 days, your TDEE calculation should take into account those 5 days. Does that make sense? So you never think, oh, well, I must be under my TDE because I've added in some extra exercise. That's not how it works. And also, we really don't burn as many calories doing exercise as we think we do. Just wanted to throw that in there. I'm regularly lifting heavier, which is great. I'm often physically exhausted and the scales are very slowly going down. I have fluff to drop, but I'm focusing on building. Do I keep eating at TDEE or go up to give me more energy? I don't want to put on any more fluff. So Tanya, you have to decide what your goal is. You have to decide if your goal is fat loss or if your goal is building muscle. If your goal is fat loss, you eat very slightly under your TDEE for a long period of time, gradually aiming to lose half a pound to 1 pound to, maximum 2 pounds a week. If you're eating at your TDEE, you shouldn't be exhausted. Like, your TDEE is designed to give you enough energy for the calories you're currently expending. If you're eating at 10% under your TDEE, you still shouldn't be exhausted. Like, my TDEE is 2,600 calories. I'm this week and for the last couple of weeks, I've been eating 1,700 calories Monday to Friday, and then a little more on the weekend, so it kind of balances out. So I probably am eating, averaging around 2,000 calories a day if you take in the calories that I'm over consuming on the weekend. So I'm eating 600 calories a day under my allocation, which is more than 10%. 10% of 2,800 is 280 calories, and I'm eating 600 calories under. So I'm eating probably 20% under my allocated calories, and I'm not exhausted. If you're exhausted, it means that you're not timing your nutrients correctly, and you're probably not eating enough protein. So I eat protein breakfast, mid-morning, lunch, dinner, and evening snack. And I find that when I prioritize 30 to 40 grams, I'm eating 180 grams of protein a day. So when I prioritize protein 5 times a day, and I have one piece of toast in the morning, then I have rice at lunchtime, and then I have, some carbs at dinner, either sweet potato or rice noodles or couscous, something like that at dinner, and then no carbs in the evening. I have my protein chocolate mousse in the evening that I make. I find that I have adequate energy to get through the day. And I train a lot, do a lot of cardio. I do about 20,000, 25,000 steps a day. And I do a lot of brain. I use my brain a lot during the day because I'm constantly thinking, and you burn a lot of calories whenever you're thinking. Your liver burns a lot of calories to fuel your brain. So if you're exhausted, I would look at other things. It's probably not your food intake. But I'm going to take a stab here, Tanya. It sounds like, and I could be completely wrong. And I'm totally open to being wrong here. It sounds like you want me to give you permission to eat a little more, because you're saying, do I keep eating at my TDE or go up to give me more energy? And then you've said, I don't want to put on more fluff. If you eat over your TDEE, then you will put on body fat, because you will be eating more calories than you're currently burning off. But what I would do is I would check your TDEE to make sure that it is accurate. However, if you're losing weight very slowly, then I would assume that it is accurate, because if you were under eating, then you would be losing weight faster. So what can you do about the exhaustion? Make sure that you are getting adequate sleep. Make sure that you're getting adequate rest. Make sure that you are not lacking in any vitamins. I have recently, just to support my immune system, started taking vitamin D every day. So I take vitamin D. I put magnesium in my bath every night. I've started taking vitamin B complex. I've also started taking omega-3s. And I'm taking echinacea at the minute as well, because I'm not well. So vitamin B and omega-3s are both really good. Vitamin B complex, really good for reducing inflammation. Vitamin D, because I haven't seen sunshine since last October. And I thought that maybe my body could be lacking in some vitamin D. I probably should take some adaptogenic herbs to build up my immune system. But to be honest, I just haven't had the time to look into them. And so just make sure that you are getting adequate protein, you're eating regularly, you're not lacking in any vitamins, and that you're getting enough sleep. And otherwise you just gotta push through. And if you said you're suffering from, you're exhausted, well then rest, take a week off. I think taking a week off is kind of seriously underrated. People really do need to rest. We go, and we think that we should be going all the time, rather than, do you know what? Like, sometimes we just need to rest. So if you're ever feeling like completely exhausted, just give yourself permission to take a week off. It won't do you any harm. Candace Chappell, I always wondered about the why behind why some vegetables are free while others aren't. Is it because they're nightshades, starchy, or hybrids, or starchy so therefore more sugary? I used to listen to Dr. Sebi, who promoted the very controversial alkaline diet, which says to avoid hybrids. I don't even know what a hybrid vegetable is, I have to be honest. Anyway, I'm looking for more details, and I'm sure Kim has the data. So Candace, it's really simple. The free vegetables are filled with fiber. That's it. It's all to do with fiber. Whenever you remove fiber from a food, it makes it more easily broken down in the small intestine. So there's 2 ways that food is broken down in the intestinal tract. The first pass is in the small colon. So once it enters your stomach mulches it all up and passes it into the small colon. Anything that can be absorbed in the small colon through the intestinal wall into the bloodstream is in the small colon. But fiber cannot be broken down in the small colon. It must be passed through to the large colon for fermentation. Now here's the interesting part. Only food that can be broken down in the small intestine can be utilized as calories. So fiber cannot be utilized in any way as calories. It only gets broken down in the large colon to make poop. So whenever you eat food that is packed with fiber, only a very, very small amount of it is actually making it into the bloodstream as calories. So one of the things I always teach, which comes from Tim Ferriss, is it's not important what makes it into your bloodstream. It's not what makes it into your stomach that counts. It's what makes it into your bloodstream. We tend to think that anything we eat that goes into our stomach makes it into our bloodstream as calories. But remember, only food, it's not the food going into your stomach or your intestine that means that your body absorbs it as calories. It's only the food that can be broken down in the small colon that makes it through as calories. If it doesn't make it into the bloodstream, your body cannot utilize it as calories. That's why artificial sweeteners add sweet flavor to food, but they don't have any calories, because artificial sweeteners and sugar alcohols cannot be broken down in the small intestine. They have to be passed through to the large colon for fermentation. And what happens whenever something goes into the large colon for fermentation? Gas. That's why when you eat a lot of broccoli, a lot of cauliflower, a lot of vegetables, a lot of fibrous vegetables, you have a lot of gas, because the bacteria in your gut has to work very hard to eat up and chew up all of that fiber to break it down. And with that comes a lot of gas production. So that's why some foods are free. If you were to eat, say this box of tissues, right, was a whole head of broccoli. Let's turn it upside down, right? This is the stalk and this is the top of the broccoli. Well, only about, say you were to eat this entire head of broccoli, okay? Only about this amount of the broccoli makes it into your bloodstream. All of the rest of this is fiber. You get this amount. Let me make it even smaller. You get smaller again. This amount of nutrient. This is your broccoli. And this is what makes it into your bloodstream. That's it. And there's very few calories. Gonna sneeze? There's very, very, very few calories. Sorry, what am I like? I'm like, snuts today. Very few calories in this. Very few. Just loads and loads and loads of nutrients. So that's why we say green cruciferous vegetables are free. Why cruciferous? Because cruciferous vegetables are 95% fiber, which means that they're not absorbed as calories. So whenever you eat them, they make you feel really full because, there's a lot of them in your tummy. But your tummy's expanded, but only this amount of your tummy, of the food in your tummy from those vegetables, is actually making it into your bloodstream. So you can really eat an enormous amount of them without absorbing any calories. The calories that are absorbed from the cruciferous vegetables are not sugary calories. So they don't raise your blood sugar. So normally if you were to eat white bread or white pasta or cereal, something really, really broken down, and so the reason why some of those foods are high glycemic index is because the fiber has been removed from them, which means they have very high osmolality, which is absorption through the intestinal wall into the bloodstream. And because they have there's such a rapid rush of glucose into the bloodstream, your blood sugar rises and your pancreas start pumping out insulin to go through your bloodstream to pick up the sugar to try and store the sugar. They try and store it away in the muscles as fast as they can, and whatever's left over, they immediately move to fat store. Whenever you eat a whole head of broccoli, you get this teeny, teeny, tiny little drip of nutrients into your blood, right? And it's almost like your pancreas go, oh, there's something in the bloodstream, hang on. And like insulin looks out and goes, it's only broccoli. Like it's not even worth it. So you hardly even get an insulin response at all, because this broccoli just like just swims lazily through your bloodstream. There's no panic. There's no massive flood of insulin. There's no overworking the pancreas. So you can basically eat as much of it as you want, because it doesn't rapidly rise your blood sugar. It's not stored as fat. It will be stored as nutrients in your cells, but because there's not high sugar, it won't be, your body doesn't rush to store it very quickly. So it can be used to, it can be remetabolized. The nutrients from vegetables, green cruciferous vegetables, and broccoli, and cauliflower can be remetabolized into making really healthy cell tissue as well. So that's the science behind it. I hope that was helpful. I'm sorry, I'm literally just like literally snuffling away here. Deborah Ducharme left me a beautiful message. It was quite long, so I'm not going to read it out, but Deborah, thank you so much for the lovely message. I'm really happy to read your journey, and I'm so happy and so thankful to have you here with us all of this time. Melanie Dullaway also left me a beautiful message, just saying about how she finally went to the gym and realized it wasn't that bad. No one's even looking at her. Everyone's just focused on themselves, and she doesn't know why she's put it off for so long. Guys, I am so sorry. I need to blow my nose again. This is terrible. Like, my nose is just running and running and running. But there's no way I was going to cancel today again. Okay, Jamie, she told me it's Jamie, it's not Jaime. I'm very happy to have the pronunciation. Jamie Deloria has told me, if limited on time, like 30 minutes, would you recommend weight training or cardio? What are your two favorite and most effective exercises per body part? So if I was very limited on time, Jamie, I would always prioritize strength training. Always. Now, if I was on a short shred program, then I may prioritize cardio. So let's say I had 4 weeks to lose a certain amount of body fat for a photo shoot. Then I may prioritize cardio in that instance, but that would be the only time I would prioritize cardio. Strength training, it will keep your bones stronger, it will raise your metabolism, it will give you a better shape of your body. It is much harder to build muscle than it is to lose body fat. So if you sat down at your desk in the morning and you had 5 things on your to-do list, would you choose to do the easy things first, or would you choose to do the hard thing first and get it out of the way? Well, of course you would choose to do the hardest and most important thing first to get it out of the way, hopefully. That's kind of what bodybuilding is like. You have to do the hardest thing first because it is so incredibly hard to build muscle that you never want to sacrifice it over, you never want to sacrifice that for cardio. What are my 2 favorite, most effective exercises per body part? I don't have any. Like you don't ever want to just be thinking I can only do 2 exercises. You want to do your full gym program. If I had to only choose 2, then I would choose any 2 compound exercises. So multi-joint, multifunctional exercises. If I only ever had to do 2 exercises for back ever again, and I had limited equipment, I would probably do pull-ups because they use my full body, they use my full upper musculature, back, biceps, all that kind of stuff. I would just get really, really, really good at pull-ups because they work so many parts of the body. Legs, definitely compounds. Squats, leg presses, all that kind of jazz. So you always want to go for the compounds if you only ever had to choose 2, but don't ever put yourself in a position where you only have to choose 2. You want to make sure you're doing your full workout. Last question from Jamie. Any ideas on how to incorporate our family's spouse's boyfriend on being our families and spouse's boyfriend on being healthy? Your spouse's boyfriend. That doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, for example, meal prepping together, hiking. Any tips for creating family time around healthy habits? Between working 2 full-time jobs, our nurse, also teacher, and also finding time to spend with the family, it's been challenging to fit everything in and find a healthy balance. She says, I do want to thank you. I did start an HRT and it's helped to improve my energy. And then such a lovely wee tribute at the end. Thank you, Jamie. I see with my kids, I have always just modeled healthy eating for them. I think that whenever you become this way, whenever you make healthy choices, whenever you whenever you live this life, your kids just naturally do it too. We never had to force our kids to go to the gym or to limit their chocolate or their crisps or their junk food we never had to limit anything to that because we never really had it in the house. Like, of course, we have potato chips and, or we call them crisps here in the UK, and chocolate and that kind of stuff in the house, but like not millions of it. Certainly enough that if anybody wants any, they can go and get it at any time. It's never like, oh, you're restricted to like one packet a day or anything. They can eat whatever they want. But the majority of our food, like Ryan and I, we eat healthy, protein-rich food. We've always had protein shakes in the house. We're always in the gym together. We're out hiking together. We, he's in the sauna and swimming, and we play tennis as a family. Like, we're an active, healthy family. And so the kids have just naturally become that way as well. Like my daughter, Maya, who has really bad scoliosis, she works at the yard. We have 5 competition horses, and she works there every day. She's riding my horse this year because I just don't have enough time to ride him, my 2 horses. So she's riding 4 horses at the minute, competing 4 horses. And she does daily exercises with her scoliosis. It's amazing. She's like the poster child for her caregivers. But she's decided that she wants to incorporate strength training into her life as well, because she just knows that building muscle is strong. She's always had a super fit, strong mum. So she's, she recognized, like I said to her when I saw a photo of myself, and I was like, oh my God, I looked at my arms. I was like, I look like a wrestler, whatever I was saying. I have no tan on at the minute, so I don't look like anything, but I was like, I look like a wrestler. And she was like, no, you don't. You look amazing. You look so strong. And I was like, really? She was like, yeah, I think you look so strong. Like, she was really, and I've never heard her say that before. I was like, I would never even thought that Maya even thought about my body. But anyway, she has now started getting up in the morning. She loves getting up early. Like, she's 15, she gets up early. Why does she get up early? We've always got up early in my house. I get up at 4, my husband gets up around 4 or 5. We're always up together, and we train together, and we go for breakfast together, and we do shit like that. And so she now gets up at 6, and she goes in. We have a gym at home, and I look out the window and I see, the lights on in the gym. She's in the gym training. I gave her a gym program. I gave her exercises to follow. I gave her the Sculpted Menopause app. So she's now doing just the 3-day. She's doing the 3-day full body workout from there. And she goes in, she follows the exercises, she ticks them off. She, like, 3 days a week, she goes into the gym and she strength trains at 6 a.m. And she's 15. Not because anyone's made her, but because she's just decided that she wants to strength train. And if she misses a day, she doesn't sweat it. She just is like, oh yeah, I only trained twice this week. But I think that whenever you model things like that for your kids, and you're the person who's naturally active, and you're with your husband or your spouse, and you're saying, like on a Sunday morning, I'll be like, come on, we'll go for a walk. And he'll be like, yeah, sure, okay, let's take the dog. And we go for we don't go for we go for a hike, we're away for like a full hour, proper walk with the dog. Or he'll say, I'm going to go swim. Do you want to come do some cardio and we can have a sauna? I'd be like, yeah, sure. Wi-Fi's gone off. Oh, there. So he'll go swim, and I'll go and sit in this, and then I'll do some cardio, and we'll sit in the sauna together for 20 minutes, and we go for breakfast, and we're just naturally doing active things together because we're both interested in fitness, and so we both are naturally active, and so the things we do together are active, I guess. So I don't have any other advice for you other than the best way you can bring someone along with you is just to be that way yourself. Walk the talk, live the lifestyle, be as Gandhi says, be the change you want to see in the world. Just be that way yourself and commit to being that way. And by being that way, you inspire others to be that way as well. That's one thing I definitely know for sure. You inspire others to be fit and healthy and come along with you, and if they don't, well, they're on their own journey in life. That doesn't mean you can't be your way. But I guess the question then becomes, do you find it hard to say no? Like, if they're eating unhealthy stuff, are you like, oh, do you feel like left out? Do you want them to do it to make it easier for you? If the answer is yes, then you need to figure out a way to make it part of you. Because, like, honestly, if my husband is he's not into like junk food at all, but he doesn't have a rule around it, but if he was eating a pizza or he was eating like a big burger and chips and he was like, do you want some? I'd be like, yeah, no. I don't see, like, when I see French fries, all I see is a big plate of fat and carbs. And I'm like, fuck, I know that's an hour. If I eat that, that's 2 hours in the treadmill. If I eat those French fries, that's 2 hours in the treadmill to work off those French fries. No, thank you. But I think there's a really interesting thing happens whenever you start to measure calories in and calories out, and you look at like a big, say a large portion of McDonald's French fries, and there's like 600 calories in those. And you're like, I know that it takes me like a full hour on the Stairmaster to burn 300 calories, that thing of French fries doesn't remain French fries anymore. It becomes 2 hours in the Stairmaster. It's very easy to say no when you feel the physical effects of trying to burn 600 calories. So the best thing you can ever do for yourself is really start to measure your calories in, measure your calories out. Like, look at how many calories, you're potentially burning on whatever cardio machine you're doing. And let me tell you, it completely reframes food for you. Like, if I ever look at a big piece of cheesecake or a big piece of vegan chocolate cake, or I just look at it and I go, am I really willing to do what it takes to burn that off? Quite often the answer is no, so that makes me not eat it. But then sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, vegan chocolate peanut butter bowl. I went for coffee with Maya here in the office yesterday, and we got like a vegan peanut butter slice, and and it was like this size, and we cut it in half and we shared it, and I was perfect, and I was happy with half, and I was happy to have the shared experience with her of eating that peanut butter slice, and that became even though I'm dieting, that became more important than my diet in that moment. And I was really happy with my choice. But I think just being more mindful with your choices in the moment is like really what we have to build. Like, the whole theme of what I've been teaching here today is just mindfulness, being in the present moment, understanding why you're choosing what you're choosing, stopping being reactive to your external circumstances, recognizing that life is hard, life is shit, life is suffering, contaminated by malevolence, and the only thing that makes life unacceptable is not accepting the present moment. Accept the present moment as if you've chosen it, even if it's hard, and you will get on so much better in your life, because you will feel like you are in the driving seat. You are a causing agent and you're not a victim. And that's when everything really changes, because even though things are hard, you can get through them because you're the kind of person who can do hard things. How do you get to know you're the kind of person who can do hard things? By doing more hard things. Do more hard things. Like, give yourself some responsibility. Responsibility builds character. Find something you can be something really, really, really hard that you can be responsible for. And I promise you will build the character and the strength to keep going, even whenever times get tough and even whenever you don't feel like it. And if you can take anything away from today, you can just, that's the one thing I want you to take away. And I'm just reading this lovely message from Shazanaz that just came up here. And she says, I just wanted you to know I feel grateful every day for your existence in this life. And I'm grateful I found you about 3 years ago every day. That is the most beautiful, beautiful message. Thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate it. And I just want to tell you guys how much I appreciate all of you. And I appreciate this community. And I appreciate, your dedication to yourselves and your loyalty to the company. We've sold over 400, I think, app subscriptions now, and we haven't even advertised it, which is amazing. And I'm really glad that it's built up slowly, because we've been ironing out all the bugs as we've been going before we kind of do a mass launch to the general public. But I was just so honored that it was like 400 of you signed up for the app without even really knowing what it is or what it does. You just trusted that whatever it was I was producing was going to be worth investing in. That was really honoring for me. I really felt very honored by that, and very, very happy. I don't take it lightly, ever. I never take it lightly that you guys choose to spend your money with me, and I hope that you feel that I give back to you in as much you get. I hope you feel like you get as much as you give. More, actually. I hope that you feel you get more than you give, because that's always my goal. It's always our goal in Sculpted Vegan is to give more than we take. And I just hope to keep on delivering for you as well. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. I'm sorry that I didn't get to all the questions in the live. I went quite long into the questions in the graphic, which I think were good. I think today was good and was necessary. So, yeah, that's all for today. Sending you a big hug and a big kiss. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you guys on Monday for another masterclass. Okay, take care. Love you loads.